I think that the digitalization agenda is a soft infrastructure agenda. Is to say, let's look at all the bottlenecks, all the problems in our service delivery, all the things that make just living in Ghana so difficult. Difficult in the sense that today, or just some few years ago, if someone wanted to just got an idea and wanted to start a business in, say, Sunyani, they had to come to Accra to register that business, to open a bank account. If there was no mobile money then, that company will not even exist. The guy will be forced to do other offline, totally offline, or other more traditional sources of work to get income, like farming and all the other things. I think for me personally, digitalization speaks to me personally because
you find yourself in the space more.
Yes.
So that's something you do all the time. But I mean, talking about the triggers of development, you've talked about the hard infrastructure. You've talked about the provision of some services. You've talked about the ease with which we can do other things. And so that's when digitalization comes in. We're trying to improve business systems through the usage of digital technology. And all things being equal, we're anticipating that, or we're expecting that, with all of this comes, ease of doing business, and so a lot more things can be done. But the question for many Ghanaians is whether what we're expecting is really what is being done or what is happening on the ground.
So it's one thing discovering the right or the right product to do or to build. And it is another thing building it well. I think what we have found is that this is the way. It has taken us a while, and there's been a lot of work in the past to get us where we are. I don't think we just woke up to find ourselves here. I've always been saying we are among the first countries in Africa to get mobile telephony. That was a great start. We are among the first countries in Africa to wire fiber optics or try to wire fiber optics across the country, and that was also a great start. We have some of the highest mobile money penetration numbers here. So it exists. These things exist here for us to be able to do the next thing. Then the next thing is to build it right. And there would often be some friction here and there at the start because like we are seeing in Ghana.gov, you can't just walk into an agency and say, hey, I'm here to digitize you, and you have to digitize by force or by a certain deadline or that kind of thing. So it will take some time. It will take some effort. You want to get it right. You want to build it right. And I believe that with a little bit of patience, I think we're on the right path. Now is to make the path, build it well along that path.
We haven't built it well?
Well, not all of it. Obviously, some people are still complaining about some other services. Yesterday, I heard on your program, for example, people complaining about DVLA and other things. It's not part of the scope of Ghana.gov. We are only processing payments, so I can't really speak to that. But obviously, there's some friction there.
But while Ghana.gov is processing payment and all, you also have an understanding of what it is that you want to achieve when it comes to the digitalization agenda. And so you know what you want to achieve, but when you hear these things, how does it make you feel? Does it tell you that what you seek to achieve is not being achieved?
Well, I think that I find it more encouraging that there is more work to be done, and I find that people really find it frustrating that there are some challenges somewhere, and what we have to do is pick up ourselves and make sure that we work hard, agency to agency, and bring their workflow online and simplify it online the way we have done for the services that are currently there. So if you take the services that are currently on Ghana.gov, if you take a service like GRA, it works very well. People are able to file their returns and pay for their taxes. If you go to the port for the first time, you're able to pay with mobile money, Visa card, Visa QR, GHQR, and go and clear your goods from the port. If you go to several other agencies that are on on Ghana.gov, passport included. You're able to, for the first time, fill up a form online, pay for it, go through a workflow at the passport office, even get it delivered to you at the passport office if you, from the passport office if you so wish. And all these things are riding on some existing rails that have already been created.
Great. So let me get back to the Ghana.gov.gh. Before we get to the Ghana.gov.gh, for instance, I mean, you have talked about the plan as you have it. And Ghanaians have also talked about what their expectations are. Now, you've talked about the end product being the fact that apart from enabling you to do a lot of things easier, the plan also is to ensure that we'll be able to grow our economy, because then once we go through all of these things, if payment of taxes become easier, people are going to do so. But for some, the question is about even the measurement of the impact that we're talking about. How do I know? Because measuring is the difficulty.
So anyone who is confused about the impact of what digitization or digitalization will do for the economy should look at mobile money. This is a very soft infrastructure, or if you're even confused with mobile money, you should look at just mobile telephony. Many of us have forgotten before mobile telephones became our standard way of communicating amongst ourselves, that if you were my friend and I wanted to visit you, I just showed up at your house, right? It was, a standard of living was very different.
If I had what we call landline, I could call you and tell you I'm coming to your house. So,
and landline, very few people had landlines then. So the impact is huge, but it takes time for that impact to be realized. Think about it. Just 10 years ago, if you needed to send money to someone in Kumasi, you would wrap it up in an envelope, sellotape it 1,000 times, put it in, and then send it with a driver and try to tell the person that this driver is coming in a red car, meet him here and there to pick it up. There were so many. But now we have mobile money. With just a few dials and clicks on your phone, you're able to send someone money. And it's enriching a lot of life in so many ways. And I think that is what digitalization will do, or digitization will do for our economy.
You talk about mobile money. And let's look at that. You talk about the mobile money interoperability. Well, yes, that is being done, but it comes at a cost. Okay, mobile money itself comes at a cost. And so it's not as if it is free. I get to pay more for it. 1% of everything I transfer is deducted. And because, first of all, from my end, it's going to be deducted. And the person I am sending to is also expecting me to add additional funds to it, because that person would also have to make that payment. So where really is the comfort? And where really is the ease when my pocket is what suffers?
So let's work mobile money against the convenience. If you needed to send money to anyone in Ghana today, whether they are in Accra or they are in another part of the country, you would have gone through a lot more than 1% of the cost to get it to them. Besides, the other reason is that it also costs money to keep these systems running and to keep these systems safe and to keep them secure. I can't hold brief on pricing for the telcos, but as a player in the industry, as also a fintech, I think it costs some money, and the cost needs to be paid for by users. And I think if you work the cost against the benefits, you can tell that it far outweighs the benefit. Should the cost come down a little bit? I don't know. I think so.
You think the cost should come down a little bit?
Well, it depends on so many factors that we can't speak to.
Look, because if I walked into a shop now and I had money, hard cash, I could pay and walk away. Okay, I pay the same amount and walk away.
Yeah.
But if I went and then I said, "Oh, can I pay you via mobile money?" I'll be paying more. While you may say, "Oh, the advantage of it is the fact that I have money on my phone, and so I don't need to go around carrying cash also. There are the disadvantages, how much I have to pay, and another disadvantage is even how to increase my, wallet limit. So there are those who have to go back every now and then to have their wallet limits, telcos.
Okay.
And the process is not just you staying at home, just like a bank that says, any amount that gets into your account, fine. But here, if you have to increase your money, your wallet limit, you have to go back again. So the ease we're talking about, what really is, the ease of doing things which we're trumpeting.
Well, I think these questions are. Again, I can't speak for all the telcos and the limits that they have on wallet, but it's to keep the systems safe. You want a level of KYC before you increase the limit. So if you have to go and increase your limit, perhaps the telco needs to know you better. Back the transactions up with whatever IDs that you provided the telcos to also ensure that the system is sane and safe. But I think that all of these give users a lot more option. I mean, you can choose to still pay with cash if you want. You can pay with your card if you want. There are a lot of QR code payment options in the system. It's to give everyone as much choices to be able to make a payment when they want to make a payment at the price that they feel it's fair. There are card systems that when you use the merchant, the fee is passed on to the merchant. There's also GHQR that if you use, the fee is on the merchant. I think there are enough ways to make payments these days, and I think that we have it better than many other countries, if not.
Let's look at the Ghana.gov.gh platform. It's been touted as game changer, makes things easy. How does it do that? What makes it the game changer?
So you can work it against before Ghana.gov. A lot of things were manual.
Let's work it before Ghana.gov, and let's see how that has actually changed things. So before Ghana.gov, let's start.
Okay, so before Ghana.gov, if you needed to find any government service to interact with it or apply for it, you would have to go around and find the appropriate agency. You would have to, discovery was just a problem. A lot of agencies that digitized all published their website, published a long USSD code. So if you go to GRA, they might have their own USSD and their own website, gra.gov.gh. Then you go to another agency, they would have their so-and-so.gov.gh. Another one will have another website, another USSD. It created a problem for discovery. What we have done, or one of the biggest problems that Ghana.gov has solved, is it has solved that discovery problem. So now if you are or if you are in need of any government service, you just go to this single portal. You don't need to remember anything. All you need to remember is www.ghana.gov.gh or the short code *222# if you use a YAM phone, and you'll be able to discover this service. The second important thing that Ghana.gov has solved is ability to pay for government services with whatever payment option that you are comfortable with. So if you want to pay with good old cash, you can do so at all branches. So before Ghana.gov, government services were sitting with specific banks or specific agencies. So just some few years before Ghana.gov, you'd have a situation where if you walked into, let's say, one government agency, they will say, oh, we only bank with this bank, so the bank has a branch here. So wherever you are in the country, you have to come to this branch and pay at this particular bank. The same situation was also at the port. So you had a lot of difficulty, and it created a bit of difficulty and frustration when all of a sudden you say, oh, today I'm going to, say, Registrar General to register my company. You go there also excited, and then you get to the Registrar General Hall and you realize here is a queue for this, here is a queue to validate your data, here is a queue to do another thing, here is a queue to do another. And when you are all finally done, Here is a very long queue for you to make a payment. And in fact, some of them we found that even after you had made a payment, you needed to take the receipt to a certain room 3 before it will be stamped for your service to be. Ghana.gov has removed all of that. Today, you go online, you apply for a service, fill out a few forms, provide some responses, and you'll be able to pay with mobile money, or Visa, MasterCard, QR, whatever instrument you have. If you don't even have mobile money or have a bank account or have a GHQR or any QR instrument, you can take your good old cash, walk into any bank branch in this country, anywhere in the country. Every bank has been hooked onto the Ghana.gov platform, and so every bank branch is actually a branch of government that you can walk in, apply for a service, make a payment, and it will be dispensed. When you come after the payment has also been done, government had a lot of problems. So let me use GRA, problems with reconciliation. After all these payments have been made, it needed to be reconciled directly with the MMD or the agency that provided that service. And that was another area that there were a lot of challenges, which resulted in a lot of funds not reaching government on time and all of that. And what Ghana.gov has done is when you walk in there and pay online or pay at the bank, the money goes straight to the government's coffers at Bank of Ghana.
Okay.
And that has provided a clean flow, a clean pipe from when you pay. There are no middlemen and anybody trying to play any games with the funds or the need to reconcile it at the point of collection before it goes to another point, that entire manual process has been removed. The final thing that Ghana.gov has solved is giving government data. So at the launch of Ghana.gov, I think you heard the Minister of Finance say that for the first time, the Minister of Finance was able to say that as at the time we were launching, as at yesterday, the day before he left the office, he was able to quote exactly how much government had collected on Ghana.gov. And this before was nearly impossible. He had to write several letters, call on a lot of accountants, call of a lot of controller generals before he will be able to assemble how much government has in a bank account. And these are the 4 key things that Ghana.
So how much has government collected on Ghana.gov?
So let me this is as at yesterday. Government had collected or not collected, but on the Ghana.gov platform, we had processed through our clean pipe into Bank of Ghana coffers 35,098,259,979.78 pesos.
Is it as of yesterday or as of
yesterday?
End of October?
As of end of October.
End of October,
October.
So not yesterday.
Yeah, but if you want yesterday, I can let them send it to me right now.
You can get that of yesterday.
Yes.
Because, because I need to do the comparison and find out whether what you're telling me, the 35,098,259,979 is different from. We need to see. And this is from May 2020 to October 2021. The question is, while we talk of ease of doing business, we should be able to compare. So what are we comparing this with? And how can we say that Ghana.gov has been the game changer? What are the margins?
So I think the margins still sit with the benefits that I have mentioned. There's a strong ease of discovery, so you don't need to remember anything. Just remember Ghana.gov.gh. The second thing is people are now able to just pay for it. Payment is not a queuing matter. If you just need, you get the bill or you generate, you go online, you can pay for it. For government, this is a huge game changer because funds are received almost instantly. And it's not received instantly to somebody else's account. This goes straight to Bank of Ghana. And so the reports are all provided on the system. There's also a monitoring system that we use to monitor for every agency. That is why we're able to provide such accurate and timely data on the
yes, but the thing is, and I mean, one of the reasons why we're doing all of these is to ensure that, and the Vice President in delivering his speech talked about the digitalization, increasing revenue mobilization or generation. One of the things he cited was the Ghana.gov.gh platform. And so if it's led to an increase, if it's expected to lead to an increase in revenue mobilization or generation, one of the things we'd want to know is how it compares to the pre-Ghana.gov.gh. And so we do that comparison and then say, based on this, we've gotten it. Because yes, it's important to have the ease, but beyond the ease, we're saying because people have the ease, they can actually then pay. I mean, if I have ease, I mean, sometimes the frustration will lead me to say, I won't even go and file my returns. I won't even go and pay. Because if I have to go through all of this process, and it doesn't hurt if I could continue doing that, I won't do it. But if I can sit in the comfort of my home and do it, then I would do it. So it will be important to compare. In the absence of that, it would just be another of those, wouldn't it?
So for me, I can't speak specifically because I'm not a government employee, but I can't speak to before because I don't even have the data to speak to it. But so all I can say is that, I mean, as a citizen, obviously the benefits are very obvious. We don't need to, spend so much time talking about the benefits that this has brought to citizens. It will be interesting to know the before situation financially. But what I can say is that just for the fact that government is able to receive its money instantly and doesn't have to call on it, and that money is backed by data of when it was paid, who paid it, where it was paid, which branch, all of that allows, and which MMDA or which agency is collecting it, allows government to really now be in the know. So we can use that information, we can turn that data into information, and that information into decisions around policy and how are we going to drive certain things. And I think that the opportunities there are enormous.
So as we speak, how many agencies are on the platform?
We currently have 49 agencies. We just added one yesterday. We have 49 agencies that are processing payments. There is in total about 95 that are in various stages of integration. And because the Vice President has set a deadline for a lot of the agencies, we have as many as 95 that are actually doing integration into the platform. We're hoping to get the first batch by end of this month of 165. I think we might miss that deadline because there are some agencies that require a lot more work.
What more work do they require?
These government agencies are backed by laws. And this is a country of law, so you cannot just walk into an agency and say that we have to digitize you by force. It takes some time. So some have certain peculiar problems, some have certain system challenges that will take a bit of time to resolve. And the approach of Ghana.gov, you see, Ghana.gov was sort of started as, we took the approach of a startup. Of course, with the strong backing of the government. So it was started as a startup. It's not a big contract that, we were paid so much money to sell this. It's not a system that we had. We started it from scratch by learning how the agencies
Government
operate.
contracted you to start it?
Sorry?
Government contracted you to build it, or you built it on your own?
It started as a conversation first, as how do we build these services? And
a conversation between you and government?
From the consortium or through the Chamber of Technology, talking with fintechs, because when you want to build something like this, fintechs are often more innovative, we're more agile. We are in the business of building solutions all the time, like Habtel and ExpressPay and IT Consortium. It's all we do. We launch products almost every month or every other, or as periodically as we get those ideas. So it's a similar approach. We want this to be bottom up. That way, it is really strong, and we're seeing some strong results. Like if you take GRE, it took us quite a bit of time. I think it took us nearly upwards of 3 years to really understand how, because GRE is such a big institution, and there's so much transactions, and you want to get everything right. You need it to be bottom up, and you want to build it such that people won't feel like, here we have built it, everybody come, you have to use it by force. And that is why we haven't seen much friction on Ghana.gov rollout for all the agencies that are on it, because we have taken our time to try and build the whole experience bottom up.
Great. So just before we continue, so let me just get this clarification, because you talked about it. So you started a conversation between the chamber and, fintech, and then government came in. Is that what transpired?
No, you see, these are ideas that have always been around the tech community, and I've been around the tech community for years now, 16 years this year. And these are conversations that we have had it severally in the past. I've been in several of the meetings that, I have tried to digitize.
Since when have you been
government.
having some of these conversations?
Oh, severally. I think I've been around in and out of conversations since 2007. Haptel started in 2005. We've provided our APIs and our services to government agencies and as well as the private sector for many, many years now. So these are sort of no-brainers for us. This is what we do. It's our bread and butter. And so when, government was also nursing this agenda, in fact, when the Ministry of Communications set out a bid for the Ghana e-payments platform, that is when we even intensified our conversations that we can do this in this country. Don't do an international competitive bid, because we cannot come and bid. If government had asked the three companies, that is Haptel, ExpressPay, and IT Consortium, put together to say, because you are coming to process all these billions, give us a guarantee for, say, $100 million. There's no way we can raise that guarantee. So NITA had to be brought in as a partner. So NITA, the National Information Technology Agency, is also a very strong, they are the fourth party in this collaboration. So we're put together with NITA, and Bank of Ghana was brought in to help us with managing the clean pipe for financial transactions, so that the monies are really, really safe and secure. And so I think that ingenuity or that approach has sort of paid off, and we have largely proven ourselves that given the chance, local companies can also take up big problems of government and help solve them.
We'll come back and continue, giving the chance how local companies can take over the problems of government and through innovative means help solve those problems. This is Upfront on the JoyNews channel. My name is Winston Amwa, and tonight we're joined by Alex Bram, who is CEO of Haptel now, a part of the partners that developed the Ghana.gov.gh that we've been talking about, and also talking about the country's digitalization agenda and how that ensures that you are better off. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Right, so welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us. This is Upfront on the JoyNews channel, and tonight our focus is on Ghana's digitalization agenda. We're asking whether that is a catalyst for national development. There are many of you who have raised questions also, and we'll be getting a bit of more understanding, because we're joined by the CEO of Haptel, and it's part of the consortium that builds the Ghana.gov.gh. So, Alex, let's get into one thing. And I remember very well having a conversation. I was at the Ghana Canada Chamber of Commerce, a breakfast meeting, and the lady from Denmark talked about how the consistent reference to technology and digitalization may not augur well for us, because they have done it and they have realized that haven't digitalized, haven't used so much technology.
Which country is this?
Denmark.
Denmark.
People are losing jobs because some of the jobs that they would have done now is made easier. And so they are thinking of checking a few things again. In the midst of all of these, the question is, how is this aiding or affecting job creation?
Did she provide you stats?
No, I mean, it was a conversation that, and she was asking us to be careful as we continuously talk about, let's digitalize, let's do this, let's do that, because of their lessons.
Oh, I think that the fact, I'll check up on this, but the fact is that digitization globally, since it started in the late 70s, has actually increased the number of jobs. I remember the days when we were very young, and my dad was forced to go to computer school to learn computer and all of that, and they were all scared that they were going to lose their job. Well, the computer age, as they used to call it back then, has ended up creating a lot more jobs than people feared would be lost. And statistically, from everywhere in the world, it has proven that more and more people get absorbed, because the truth is that digitization creates a lot more opportunities. So I'll give you an example. Here in Ghana, let me give you one government example, and then I'll give you one local example, or one private example. One government example is, if you take passport, if you go to the passport office now, I don't think anybody, and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think anybody within the passport office has lost their job as a result of passport office moving from paper-based forms to the forms that you and I fill online. In fact, I will argue that a lot more jobs have been created, because now when you go to the passport office... What is
the basis of that argument?
If you go to the passport office to take your biometrics, there are a lot more people there. The people that take your biometric, the people that still have to check it, the people that process your application are still at post. It has even created a new layer of jobs for the people that do the other services, like deliver your passport to you at home. That's a job that didn't exist. That's an entirely new line, only because now the office is free enough to take its time and actually make the experience better for you. And in making that experience better for you, they have created a lot more jobs. A private sector example is, if you take a company like Haptel, just by us innovating in the e-commerce space, we have currently in Accra nearly 100 people that we have hired because of just one idea to go foray into e-commerce. You're talking riders. These are people that didn't have, delivery people that didn't have jobs. Other managers, they didn't have jobs before. Inventory managers, they didn't have jobs before. We have station managers, we have zonal managers. This is a whole new change. So the evidence all around the world is digitization creates more opportunities because it creates more ideas. If I stay on the private sector, today there are a lot of people that, thanks to mobile money and mobile money interoperability and how we're easily able to move money from our bank account into a mobile money account and vice versa, a lot of people are running Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook businesses.
But there are a lot of people also.
And employing a lot more people
but there are some people also who are within the financial sector. And to be very honest, many of us have not been to the banks. So there are some tellers who have had to lose their jobs. Yes, they may want to create others, but the truth is some have had to lose their jobs. I don't remember the last time I went into a banking hall.
Yeah, I can't speak for the banks on those numbers.
Exactly.
But I will bet you that a lot of the banks, because they are also going digital, are also getting a lot more customers. I know, and I can't disclose these banks, but I know that there are banks that when we started digitizing them through e-banking and internet banking and SMS banking and transactional alert, SMS alerts and co, because it's Haptel's, one of Haptel's bread and butter. many of these banks had customer bases of 18,000 people. Now there are banks who are pushing well over 100,000, and this is just a few years ago. For me, I think that it creates a lot more opportunity.
The customers would grow and would grow because, I mean, I can sit in the comfort of my home and do everything I want to do. Today, I'm not going to move out and walk into a bank to do a transfer or anything or go and fill anything. In fact, the only thing I would do is just to transfer from my account to the person's account, and bingo, I am done. If I have to pay my school fees, it is transferred into the school's bank account, and I use that to say I have paid. This is when I paid. Load it into onto a digital platform. End of the story. I disburse the amount, and that's the end of it. I mean, UPSA does it. You disburse your amount. You're finished.
Exactly.
And so, with the ease of doing that, yes, we may say, oh, people have resorted to a lot of e-commerce and a lot of using social media even to market things and all of that. But the people who have also lost their jobs as a result, because that interface today is no longer is not as necessary as it was in the past. You would agree with me?
Yes, I would. I would. But you would also have to agree that with the increased number of people who are banking on their mobile and never going to the banking halls, now it elevates the conversations for bank. Because really and truly, me going to a bank only to deposit money or to withdraw money is a very mundane task.
Exactly.
You can't develop a sophisticated economy with a lot of your masses that are supposed to move the economy spending their time doing mundane things. So now that elevates the bank branches to now focus on the most important things, like when you need a car. You need to walk to the bank and there's an analyst or an advisor there that is going to sit with you and craft how do we get you a car, a loan, something. If you need a house, working with your wife or partner, and that is what bank branches everywhere in the world are currently doing. And I want to see and challenge our local banks to move the conversation above deposits and withdrawals, and you go to some bank and the woman is behind the teller and giving you attitude only because you are there to cash your own money. I think these things need to change. This is my own personal opinion. I think it needs to change. Bank branches need to become places where we solve real problems.
But the question is, how is this creating jobs? You have the platform. How is that helping in creating jobs?
I think that it's going to do the same thing for government. I think that what it is doing to passport offices, we need to see it in a lot more government offices. I want to see government offices where it's actually set up not to frustrate people, but it's set up to excite, to serve. Because the parts where you apply for services and you pay and all of that has been taken away. Wouldn't you like to walk into Land's office because you want to go and do something of worth, other than to apply for something and then pay for it also? I want to see a lot more government offices become a bit more sophisticated so that when you go, we can attend to real needs. Because in all this chaos, the real needs are not being addressed. And I can't name specific government agencies, but there are so many government agencies where the activities that are conducted there, no offense to anyone, and anyone should forgive me if they feel offended, but the activities there needs to get elevated. And I think that is one of the first things that we'll see, as it's been done at the passport office. Now, if you go there, the passport office runs like these developed visa centers by our most developed countries that we all troop to go get visas from. It runs very, very well. It's professional. The people are also calm enough to talk to you, and the service, the experience it's elevated to that level. And I think that is one of the advantages that we should see from this.
Let's go back to the platform and let's talk about agencies on it. What about the assemblies?
Yes, so the assemblies there's a lot of work being done through the Ministry of Local Government, not directly by the Ghana.gov team, but we've been part of conversations where there's a lot of efforts going on to digitize the local assemblies, especially in the area of property rate collection, in the area of providing information directly from the citizens to government in an organized way. So today, a lot of us, we get on radio, we pick our phones or go online, and we are always complaining, hey, my gutter here has burst, gutter here is not functioning well, it's choked, the pipe here has burst, the light here is off. All of that needs to be become the burden of the local assembly. So what we have provided in the Ghana.gov app, for example, is if you install the app, there's a plus button on top. You can send feedback directly to government. It's managed by the Ministry of Information, who manages the National Information Contact Center. That information goes to them. There's a whole call center that someone is going to take that feedback and go through the system of government to organize this for you. So I believe that with time, all the local government agencies will come on board with all their services.
Do you have some of them joining already?
Yes, in fact, there's. I mean, it starts from the top. As many of them have reached out independently, but we're waiting for that entire system to be created. For Ghana.gov, it's a platform. So for government agencies, once you are ready, you connect to the platform, and then the rest of the services flow seamlessly.
What do they need to be ready?
They need to, first of all, we need to organize their workflow. So for example, if you report that there's a problem in your community, that the channel needs to flow all the way to the appropriate office or desk or team that will have to take care of that problem. So whether it's sanitation, security, whatever sector that is that the problem impact will have to be contacted. That workflow needs to be designed, and we are working through those workflows.
How long does it take once they show interest?
So it's
on the average.
On the average, so we've had agencies that are so ready, we are able to digitize them within a week. There are some too that you need to navigate their own systems. You need to navigate the laws before you can put them up. There are some certain changes that will also need to be communicated, and there are also certain processes before those services are sort of passed before they can come online. So, how
many of them have expressed willingness to join?
In fact, we haven't had opposition from any one of them. I mean, there are many of them that when we went to them, they already had their own plan to digitize. And several of them are, I mean, for that I must commend a lot of the government agencies. They themselves took on the digitization call, and they were by themselves digital. So it's not, it has also made our work a bit easy. I don't think we have encountered a 100% offline government agency, as in there's no system at all. All of them have some sort of system in place.
You're expecting 165 by end of November?
Yes.
Are you on course?
Like I said...
Would you meet the target?
95 of them, so we have 49. 95 of them are going through integration. I think that what we can do is to support them through the integration process. NITA has been very, very helpful. The Director General himself has been very much involved in helping them. We have a whole call center at NITA that is there to help them. There's a whole onboarding team that is helping them. So I believe that we will be able to get very close to the target or go a little above that target, but largely enough. The key picture is that as many of them are trooping to Ghana.gov to connect to the platform.
What's the target number of agencies you're expecting on?
I think we counted over 700 government agencies in all that needs to be. Some will come in large batch. For example, once you complete the work with Ministry of local government and regional development, you find a lot of them will just come on. So the numbers will begin to ramp up from there.
Alex, thank you very much for joining us. And Alex Bram is the CEO of Haptel. They're one of the consortiums that developed the Ghana.gov. We're having a conversation about the government's digitalization drive. My name is Winston Amadou. Have a lovely evening.